Greetings, everyone. It's Joseph Solis-Mullen again. And today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about some work I've been doing and that I'm writing about for a large paper for us, is anti-Catholicism in American politics in the 1840s and 1850s. Specifically, I'm looking at how religious prejudice, especially Protestant suspicion toward Catholic immigrants, became a really powerful political tool during a period of really immense change and instability in American life as the second party system was breaking down in the run-up to the Civil War. So during these 2 decades, the United States saw an unprecedented wave of Catholic immigration, and this was for multiple reasons, which I go into in the paper, primarily from Ireland and Germany. On the one hand, you had political turmoil, and on the other hand, you had the famine. So in response, anti-Catholic sentiment, often referred to as no popery rhetoric, rose to really a fever pitch during this period. And what makes this period so significant, of course, is that anti-Catholicism didn't remain on the margins. It became a central force in reshaping American politics. My research shows that these religious prejudices, for example, played a major role in the collapse of the Whig Party and the realignment that led to the rise of the Know-Nothings and eventually the Republican Party. Politicians and activists actively mobilized fears of Catholic political influence, alleging that Catholic voters were under control of bishops or even the Pope, and thus incapable of participating in free Republican self-government. Primary sources from the period are very telling. Things like Samuel Morse, yes, that Morse, he wrote this pamphlet called The Foreign Conspiracy Against the Liberties of the United States. And then there was Thomas Whitney's Defense of the American Policy. These laid out the intellectual and political case against Catholicism such as the anti-popery faction saw them. They framed Catholicism as a foreign, authoritarian system completely at odds with, completely incompatible with American liberty. I use secondary sources, people like Tyler Anbender, Ray Billington, who's really a foundational source in this, Michael Holt, who's a great historian of the American Whig Party, and they make clear that this rhetoric was more than cultural. It was seized upon and activated by opportunistic political elites. It was used to build electoral coalitions, to pass laws targeting immigrants, and to define American identity in explicitly Protestant terms. And I even have some individual case studies from people like Gene Baker and John Mulkern who show how this played out at the local level using case studies from Maryland and Massachusetts. And of course, Maryland is a really interesting one. So ultimately, I argue that anti-Catholicism was not just some kind of knee-jerk bigotry. It was a politically strategic response by political elites in response to immigration, modernity, institutional instability, the sectional crisis. It allowed political actors to unify their voting bases during a time of major instability and change. So understanding this chapter of our history helps us recognize how religious and cultural fears can be weaponized, especially in democratic systems under stress. We saw this, I wrote a lot about the activation of ethnic identities in Bosnia by elites. It's a powerful reminder then that prejudice isn't always peripheral or sort of innate. It's just it can be activated and it can be brought deliberately into the mainstream as a means of activating a base in democratic systems. And there's a lot of great literature on this. So I look forward to our final weeks together, and I look forward to talking to you next week. Thanks.